My name is Ron Drescher. I'm an attorney practicing in bankruptcy and commercial litigation in Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. And today I want to talk about the non-timing elements of discharging income tax liabilities. Now, the fourth element is fairly technical, but it says if it's assessable but not yet assessed prior to the petition date of filing bankruptcy, then you're not going to be able to discharge that tax. Well, what does that all mean? What that means is that sometimes you're negotiating with the IRS or you're receiving an audit and they're going through all of your papers and you file a bankruptcy case right in the middle of all that. Well, that's going to be a big mistake because the IRS is going to say, and correctly so, that that tax, after they finish that audit, was assessable prior to the bankruptcy case. It just wasn't assessed because the IRS hadn't completed its audit. So if the tax is assessable but not assessed, then it's not going to be dischargeable. So if you're being audited, you need to wait. The second non-timing element, or the fifth overall element for discharging taxes, is if the tax return is tainted by fraud. So if you're exceeding your deductions, or if you're not including all of your gross income, or doing anything else that would really be a fraudulent activity, that's not going to allow those taxes to be discharged. Now, the good news is that the IRS has the burden of proving that you've committed fraud, and in practice, they're not so excited about that kind of litigation. But that brings us to the sixth element, which is kind of a catch-all, which is if the taxes have any kind of willful evasion to them, then they're not going to be dischargeable. So now that's more than just not filing a return. And it's kind of ambiguous and a little unclear what that really means. But that's not an element that the IRS has to prove. That's an element that the taxpayer has to prove. That they didn't intend to evade the taxes by not filing the return or by not including an item of gross income. That was just a mistake, or that was an interpretation of the tax laws that's just different than how the IRS finally came down. That's something that the taxpayer is going to have to prove. So those are the three non-timing elements, and those are the six overall elements that a taxpayer has to meet in order to discharge taxes in bankruptcy. On the one hand, it seems like it's really hard, but on the other hand, as far as the timing elements go, they are fairly cut and dried, and there is a surprising amount of relief that taxpayers can get from their income taxes in a bankruptcy case. My name is Ron Drescher. I'm an attorney practicing in bankruptcy and commercial litigation. And if you have a question about any of this, I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for watching this video.